When I was young, I used to be a curious kid. I used to have so much wonder about the world, and I used to love being outdoors. I would hang around older dudes in my neighborhood and watch them pick up girls. They would tell me all sorts of things about how girls think and how I should relate to them. They'd even challenge me once in a while to approach a random girl I didn't know, and I'd do it. And because of all these exercises on interaction, I was pretty confident in social situations. But then I discovered the world of PMOing, and my whole world was turned upside down. I was getting so much dopamine from PMOing that I would deliberately stay indoors when no one was around to pleasure myself. Little by little, I became more comfortable being indoors, and the social confidence I'd built over the years started shrinking. And as my social confidence shrank, the curiosity I once had to meet new people faded. And from a curious and confident kid, I became a very anxious kid. And by the time I entered college, I had developed a full-fledged social anxiety condition. Being in social situations that I used to revel in now made me extremely nervous. I became what I would term an anxiety-induced introvert. This induced introversion began reflecting on my dating life big time. I was pretty good at interpreting social cues or letting my intentions known to females, but the issue I had was approaching ladies I didn't know. I had developed a crippling fear of approaching ladies that by the time I graduated college, I was still a virgin. Because of this, my dating life was nothing to write home about. The handful of girlfriends I was able to get, I would clinch to them as if my life depended on it. To rationalize my fear of approaching, I would explain it away by saying that females are only attracted to rich guys. So I always had it in my mind that I needed to become a millionaire before I could approach any girl I wanted. To add fuel to this fire, I started subscribing to the idea of monk mode. I then doubled down on making money by adopting the monk mode for long periods. I started telling myself that having a healthy social life and healthy relationships with females is a distraction that would affect my financial goals. At first, locking myself indoors for months was all good and acceptable. Granted, I was able to get some deep work done, but deep down, I knew I was partially using the monk mode to mask my social anxiety and fear of approaching ladies. I knew I was somehow hiding from the world. I had been single for more than 3 years at this time, and I was still rationalizing it by saying I was doing the monk mode challenge. My crippling anxiety about approaching was getting worse, and deep down, I knew that at this stage, monk mode was just a crutch I was using to rationalize my fears. If any of this sounds familiar to you, or if you resonate with my story, you might want to watch this video till the very end. In this video, we go over the 3 situations that, if you find yourself in, you should instantly stop doing the monk mode challenge. Number 1. If you're becoming antisocial or your relationships are suffering. As a guy, it's good to shut the world out and focus your undivided attention on achieving your goals. But once shutting out the world becomes a coping mechanism for a deep-seated fear of being in social situations, then it's time to stop shutting out the world and start working on ways to beat your anxiety. We all know when we're lying to ourselves. We might not want to acknowledge it, but deep down, we know. If you need to use the monk mode to focus on achieving specific goals, then by all means, go after it. But when you're starting to use the monk mode to hide from the world, you'll also know. Or when the monk mode is starting to affect your relationships, then you'd know. And at that time, it's time to stop doing it and start mending fences. We're social animals. Everyone needs to have people in their lives. And it takes a concerted effort to maintain these relationships and keep the people you'd like to be part of your life in your life. It wasn't until I stopped the monk mode I was using to cope, worked on my anxiety, and started putting myself out there more that I started seeing remarkable changes in my social and dating life. And I was happier and more fulfilled for it. If, like me, you're also struggling with dating because of the fear of approaching, or if you have a form of social anxiety that's holding you back, then you should start working on how you can be more confident in social situations. But first, if you're a PMO addict, I would advise you to stop PMOing. PMO addiction feeds your cycle of anxiety, especially around females. Becoming more comfortable and confident in social situations is something that you actively learn or relearn, as in my case. And the more you put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, the more comfortable you become, and gradually you get to a stage where you realize that the anxiety had been in your head all along. In the future, I'll make videos on how to cold approach and all the tips that helped me get out of my shell. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss this type of video. Number 2. When monk mode starts becoming counterproductive. There's a limit to the productive, meaningful work we can do. Any work that's tasking your logical and imaginative brain has a limit you can do per day. In Cal Newport's book, Deep Work, he placed this number of hours at 4 hours of deep work that you can do per day. Anything after 4 hours of deep work, you start getting diminishing returns, and it starts getting counterproductive. As there are daily time limits to our brain capacity, I believe there are day limits to the number of days you can string together productive work before you get burned out. This is why vacations and a good relaxation plans are important parts of productivity that are sadly ignored by most people. So, if you've been doing monk mode for so long and you're noticing that you aren't as productive anymore, or that you've been operating at a very high level that you're now feeling burned out, or the tasks have become extremely boring and you're not getting anything done, that's your body telling you you need a break and that you need to stop the monk mode for a while. Sometimes you might notice that maybe the monk mode challenge has served its purpose. Perhaps you've achieved your core goals with the monk mode challenge, and it's time to reintegrate yourself back into the world. Speaking of reintegrating yourself back into the world, this brings me to the final reason why you shouldn't look to do the monk mode forever. Number 3. If you already have a balanced dopamine pendulum. The dopamine pendulum is simply a measure of the two extremes of how addicted you are to cheap dopamine habits compared to healthy dopamine habits. Doing the monk mode challenge is you trying to swing your dopamine pendulum to the healthy extreme. I go in depth into the concept of the dopamine pendulum in the video up here, where I break down the steps to take to have a successful monk mode challenge. Having a balanced dopamine pendulum simply means your dopamine pathway is healthy. It means your life isn't ruled by many cheap dopamine habits. And since it's cheap dopamine habits that affect our productivity the most, chances are that a person with a balanced dopamine pendulum is a productive person. If you're already doing habits that help you stay away from cheap dopamine and also give you a healthy dopamine on the steady, you don't need to swing your dopamine pendulum too much to the extreme again. If your life is already a structured one with a balanced dopamine, you're already in monk mode. You're already in monk mode if you're doing a form of dopamine detox by meditating every day, eating healthy, exercising almost every day, and journaling every day. You're already in monk mode if you're a person that's able to be focused when you want to be, and able to be productive when you want to be. But if you must do the monk mode challenge and you're struggling to complete it, I believe it's the dopamine pendulum standing in your way. And if you're struggling to complete your monk mode anytime you try to do it, then this video up here is a must-watch for you. In the video, I show you the simple steps you need to take to override your dopamine pendulum so that you'll be able to achieve success with your monk mode. If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you. If you found this video helpful at all, please destroy that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it when I drop videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.